Black markets kids ran in their schools. A follower submission. About a month ago, this kid was telling his dad how he wanted to start a business at his school. And his dad said, well, you should sell candy. His dad then gave him 20 bucks. They went to the store and he bought a ton of candy. He sold candy at school for about 4 days. And business was booming. He was making some solid money. But on the 4th day, he was caught. When he went to the office, the administrator made him call his dad. And when they called him, they told him that there was a kid at the school that was selling weed gummies. At first, they thought it was him. But then they found out it wasn't. Fast forward about a week and this kid was in one of his classes, when suddenly, a friend of his started having a seizure. And the next day, another person had a seizure. They both went to the hospital, but they're fine now. Turns out, these seizures were caused by the weed gummies, which were also apparently laced with something else. Everybody at the school thought he was the one doing this. Then the school had an assembly to address the drugged gummy situation. Right after the assembly, a student who knew the person that was selling these gummies snitched, and that kid went to jail. Black markets kids ran in their schools. When this guy was in 7th grade, his science class had this thing where every Friday, if you brought in a news article related to science, you would get extra credit. Well, he always had extra articles because his mom would cut them out for him in case he lost some. He sold the extra articles to the kids in his class who had low grades. He charged between $1 and $5 per article depending on the length. And he made some decent money. And with that money, he bought his mom a very nice Mother's Day gift. That's sweet. Worst things the popular kid did in school. This person told an anonymous story of something that happened at their high school. The teacher of one of their classes had a severe peanut allergy, and one day, this really popular dude thought it would be funny to spread peanut butter underneath the doorknob of the classroom, so the teacher wouldn't notice it until after she touched the peanut butter. This kid thought it was hilarious. Well, the teacher touched the peanut butter and was starting to have a severe allergic reaction. She went to the emergency room, and the crazy part is, the kid that did this was only suspended for a day or two because his parents were very rich and they donated a lot of money to the school. People being absolute jerks. This impatient driver was in a rush and ended up rear-ending an ambulance, causing a traffic jam and forcing the ambulance to stop with the patient still inside. These two brothers were having a beautiful moment when they finished building a pyramid out of beer cans, but then someone in the stands decides to destroy it by throwing a ball at it. Come on. And lastly, this grandma who was so mad that she had to destroy the TV. Think she went a little too far. That's messed up. The worst teachers of all time. This person's 1st grade teacher was named Mrs. Davis. One time, he had a messy desk. It was one of those desks where the top flips up and you can put all your stuff in there. The teacher saw how messy his desk was, so she walked over to him, picked up his desk, and dumped everything that was in there right on top of him. She then made him clean all of it up, while the rest of the class watched. That's a pretty intense thing to do to a 1st grader. Story number 2. This person's 2nd grade teacher was named Mrs. Fowler. She used to throw chalk at the students, threatened to lock them in the cupboard, she would punish them for not writing in cursive, and she refused to let any student use the bathroom in her class, which resulted in tons of kids peeing themselves. She kind of reminds me of this character. And the last story. In 6th grade, this person had a math teacher who spent the entire year talking to a small group of students about Animal Crossing on the GameCube. Well, at the end of the year, every single person in that class got an F, except the 5 students that were in her Animal Crossing fan club. The people that failed had to go to summer school. Interesting pictures that'll kind of blow your mind. Somebody captured this photo of the actual end of a rainbow, and turns out there wasn't a pot of gold. This is the face piece of the Statue of Liberty before it was put on the statue, and this by itself makes her look super grumpy. This giant lobster claw that was sold at Costco, it was sold for $70. I mean, that makes sense. This thing is huge. After Russians found out that McDonald's were leaving Russia for good, people started buying and stocking McDonald's food items in their fridge. This library that lets people rent out cake pans. I've never seen this before in my life. The subway sign, but the way is red. I thought it was a GameStop at first. And last but not least, this hospital receipt for somebody that had a baby in 1940. The total? $57.50. That's insane. Jobs that don't exist anymore. A lector. Lectors were hired to read to large rooms of factory workers as they worked their days away. They were sometimes even hired by the workers themselves because they wanted entertainment so bad. Nowadays, people just listen to the radio. Pin setters. Pin setters were usually young boys working for cheap, and all they would do was reset bowling pins after a bowling ball hit them. Today, bowling alleys just use machines, obviously. A knocker-upper. And no, it's not what it sounds like. These people were hired to make sure others woke up for their jobs on time. They would use long sticks, rocks, bats and clubs to knock on their windows to wake them up. This job didn't pay well at all, and it was usually done by people who were incredibly desperate for money. And lastly, lamplighters. These guys used long poles or ladders to light, douse, and refuel street lamps. Oh, how times have changed. People who were legends in their high school. When this kid was a freshman in high school, he was always bullied by the wrestling and the boxing club students, and he was beat up really badly that year. So during the summer, he started working out every day, and he took Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu lessons. By the end of that summer, he was pretty buff and he knew how to fight. His parents wanted to go on vacation before the school year started, so they went to Dubai. They were in Dubai for about a month, and while he was there, he still worked out every day and he trained in martial arts. Shortly after that, he was back in school, and a few days in, he saw the bullies. They didn't know what he had been up to that summer, and one day during lunch, they started to pick a fight with him. All his friends were telling him to run, but he didn't run. Instead, he used his knowledge in martial arts, and he absolutely won that fight against those 3 bullies. Everyone was amazed. The entire lunchroom began chanting his name. He felt like a star. But a teacher saw him and he was suspended. The bullies never messed with him again, and he said it was totally worth it. This island is called the Island of the Colorblind. This is Pingalap Atoll, and in 1775, a typhoon killed most of the population, leaving only 20 survivors. This caused what is called a population bottleneck, and within those 20 survivors, one of them was colorblind, which is why 30% of the island's population today carries the colorblindness gene, and 10% of the island's population is colorblind. That's crazy. This kid ran a barbershop in his school bathroom. This guy's name is Cameron Tucker, and he went to a high school in Detroit. One summer, he cut his little cousin's hair, and he liked it. So he asked his Uncle Tuck if he could teach him the fundamentals of the fade. His uncle said, "I'll show you one time, then I won't show you again." And Cameron said, "All right." He learned pretty quick, and when school started back up again, he started doing his classmates' and his football teammates' hair in the bathroom. Business was going pretty well, until one day, during study hall when he was cutting his classmates' hair, a teacher walked in, and he was caught red-handed. The teacher called his mom and said, "Someone needs to pick up Cameron. He's running a barbershop in the 3rd floor bathroom. There's a line of people and hair all over the floor." He was suspended for 1 day, but that wasn't the end of his barber hustle. People heard about this story, and he got an apprenticeship at one of the city's top barbershops. He said he's learned his lesson, but he plans to continue increasing his barbering skills, and he intends to be one of the city's top barbers one day. John Wayne Gacy's strange hobby. John Wayne Gacy was an American serial killer that killed more than 33 people. But what a lot of us don't know is that John Wayne Gacy loved to make art. Here are some of his pieces. This one is of Hitler, this very religious piece, and of course, he loved to paint clowns. John Wayne Gacy died in 1994, but his paintings are still being passed around from art dealer to art dealer. And what's crazy is that John Wayne Gacy's paintings have sold to private art dealers for more than $150,000 per painting. Here are some of the people that bought his artwork. I'm not sure why they'd even want to have it. It's a little sus to me. Crazy ways people tried to get revenge. A woman from China, who we only know as Lou, found out one day that her now ex-boyfriend was cheating on her, and she was incredibly angry. So she hatched a plan to get revenge on him. She got in his car, turned it on, and started driving. She then proceeded to blow every single red light that she could in an effort to rack up so much money in tickets. Such a dangerous and diabolical plan. Well, it didn't work out as she had hoped. She was stopped and then arrested. Nice try. Weirdest teachers of all time, or in this case,
a baseball coach.
This is Justin Hill,
a longtime varsity baseball coach at Currituck High School.
He also went to that same high school and graduated in 1996. Well, apparently one day, 9 of his players missed practice. I think it was senior skip day or something, and he got very, very mad. So at the next practice, when those 9 students were there, he forced each of those students to spit on his bald head. The players said it was incredibly weird and gross, and Justin said he did it to make them ashamed of missing practice. I don't even know how that makes sense, but some parents found out what he did, and he was only suspended for 1 game. I'm not sure about you, but there's something super sus about that guy. This dog went missing after a car accident, and you won't believe where she was found. This is Tilly, and one day she was in the back of a car when a collision happened and she was thrown out. Her humans exited the car uninjured, but Tilly was nowhere to be seen. A few days passed, and her owners were obviously worried. But soon after that, she was found. Apparently, Tilly had made her way to a farm with a bunch of sheep on it, and the people that found her said she was herding sheep as they approached her. Apparently, she was pretty good at it too. Way to go, Tilly. This is still the weirdest commercial ever in my opinion. You may remember this Folgers coffee commercial. It comes around during Christmas time. This guy is coming home from Africa and his sister answers the door and they're very happy to see each other. He then smells coffee and gets very excited. My first question is, he literally came from the birthplace of coffee, but he gets incredibly excited to smell Folgers shitty coffee? Anyway, this is the part that's super sus to me.
Brought you something from far away.
Really? Oh.
What are you doing?
You're my present this year.
All I'm saying is I've never seen anyone look at their siblings like this. It's sus. This man died while burying the woman he killed. One day, police deputies in South Carolina were sent to a home because of a report of an unresponsive man lying in his yard. When they arrived, they had found the body of 60-year-old Joseph Anthony McKinnon, who had lived at the residence. As their investigation continued, deputies found a second body lying in a freshly dug pit. The body was confirmed to be 65-year-old Patricia Ruth Dent, Joseph's roommate. Ruth's autopsy showed that she had died by strangulation, and the police believed that he attacked her while in their house, killed her, bound her and wrapped her in trash bags, and then put her in a pit that he had dug earlier. Joseph was in the process of filling the pit he put the body in when he suffered a cardiac arrest, which caused his death. This kid was suspended for selling candy at a healthy school. This is Tommy Rose, and at the time of this incident, he was 12 years old. He attended a healthy eating school, which means the school only serves food that's very healthy. Tommy said he was watching The Apprentice one day when he had the idea to start selling candy at school. He bought all the sweets and fizzy drinks in bulk from discount stores. He would then bring them to school and sell them at a profit during lunch and break times. Business started booming incredibly fast. He was making up to 200 pounds a day. But quickly the school found out, and they were not happy. But they didn't suspend him for selling things, they suspended him because he broke the school's strict healthy eating policy. Tommy was grounded by his parents, but his parents think the school went a little too far in suspending him. What do you guys think? The kid was just trying to make some money. Craziest things teachers caught their students with. This teacher said that one day when he was trying to give a student a detention, the student pulled out an Uno switch card and genuinely thought that would get him out of it. That's not how it works, my friend. This next teacher said that one day he confiscated a makeshift taser from one of his students. The kid had rigged it by using multiple 9-volt batteries, wire, tape, and a button that was taken off from a toy. And the last one. At this one elementary school, a student came in with a bag. The teacher was kind of concerned, so she looked inside the bag, and turns out there was a live baby in there. Apparently, this kid wanted to show her friends her brand new little brother. My question is, how'd the parents let this happen? Sus. The most pointless phone app of all time. In 2008, a man named Armin Heinrich released this app on the App Store.
It was available for one day before it was taken down.
The app is called I Am Rich, and people were able to buy it for $999.99. But this app had no real value. It was described as a work of art with no hidden function at all, and its only purpose was being able to show people that you were able to afford it. And this is what the app did. When you opened it, this red jewel would pop on the screen. And that would be it. But if you pressed the little info button on the bottom right, this mantra would pop up that said, I am rich, I deserve it, I am good, healthy, and successful. The entire time this was on the App Store, only 8 people bought it, which made Armin $5,600. Honestly, that's not bad money for such a stupid app. If you had the money, would you have gotten this? Black markets kids ran in their schools. A follower submission. When this kid was in middle school, he bought a shoe customization kit, and he was skilled enough to design stuff like this on people's shoes. Well, he decided to start a business. He charged kids $10 for him to customize their shoes. But more and more people started getting interested in this, and business started booming. So he raised his price to $50 per customization. Things were going great, and he was running this business for 3 months. Until one day, the vice principal walked in on him in the bathroom designing some shoes. The vice principal saw him and told him that he had to ask the principal if he could continue. Well, the principal said, yeah, for sure, keep going. And he did. He continued this business for 7 months. But then one day, a school board official was visiting the school, and the school board official caught him in the bathroom as well. He was then shut down completely. In total, he made about $11,000. That's insane. Interesting facts about lucid dreams. A lucid dream is a dream in which you know you are dreaming and you can do whatever you want in that dream. Lucid dreaming can be a great rehearsal space to practice real-life activities like public speaking or standing up to a boss or a teacher. According to a few studies, taking vitamin B6 before bed could help you remember your dreams, and could even put you in a lucid dreaming state. Some people are so good at lucid dreaming, they claim their dreams feel more real than actual reality. There's a phenomenon called mutual dreaming, where people tell each other where they should meet up in their dream before they go to sleep. And then when they meet there in the lucid dream, they tell each other secrets, and when they wake up, they see if the other person knows the secret. This has actually worked a few times. Before I get to the last one, I found this app that tells you what your dreams mean and could even help you have a lucid dream. If you want it, I'll have it right here. Some people are so good at lucid dreaming that they can create entire cities and people that they can revisit every single time they have a lucid dream. That's crazy. College roommate horror stories. The person that told this first story said that one day while she was sleeping in her dorm room, her roommate piled a bunch of random miscellaneous objects on her face. When she finally woke up and unburied herself, she saw that her roommate was crouched down on her bed peeing. Completely shocked and confused, she got out of her bed and said, "Do you need me to take you to the bathroom or something?" And she said, "No, I don't need that because there's one right here," and she pointed at her bed. That's actually crazy. This next person said that one day her roommate took all of the pots and pans and locked them in her room, telling her that she was lazy and didn't deserve to use them. However, those were her pots and pans that she bought. And this last one is super messed up. One night, this girl's college roommate took her rabbit and killed it, and used the rabbit's bones to do a satanic ritual on her bed. She saw this, she was obviously super disturbed and so sad about her rabbit. The next time her roommate went to work, she called her friend, and they moved all of her stuff out of that dorm room in one night. Black markets kids ran in their schools. A follower submission. When this kid was in 6th grade, he had a 3D printer. Well, he had always tried to figure out a way to make money off of the things that he 3D printed. And then one day at school, he realized that tons of kids wore Crocs. So he had an idea. A Croc charm in the shape of Dwayne the Croc Johnson. He first made a few for his friends, and they loved it. And when other kids saw his friends wearing this charm, they wanted some too. So he made tons of them. And he began selling them for $3 each. He was making crazy profit, because it didn't cost him a lot of money to make at all. Business was absolutely booming. But he began having trouble keeping up with the demand. So he hired a few of his friends to help him do the selling. Well, one day when he was sitting in social studies class, the principal came in and asked to talk to him in the hallway. He was very nervous because he thought he was going to get shut down. But all the principal said was, "So I heard you're selling Croc attachments in the shape of the Rock. That's pretty interesting, and I was wondering if I could buy one." Gotta respect the hustle. Terrifying things that'll make you feel uneasy. Up first, this is a lamp filled with tons of dead June bugs. I hate June bugs, and seeing them like this is a whole different level of creepy. Also, if you zoom in on the top, it looks like there's an incredibly giant June bug laying there. Do you see it? The next one. A woman in Thailand began to feel sick one day, so she went to the doctor, and after some examinations, they found tons of these things in her body. Those are parasites, and she had gotten them by eating tons of raw food. How would you even deal with something like this? That's crazy. And lastly, the clip you're about to see shows a goat walking on its two back legs like a human, and it appears to be tricking a chicken into following it to a shed. But my question is, what did the goat do to the chicken once they got in there? Sus. Famous death row meal requests. John Spankelink was convicted on one count of murder and armed robbery. He was put to death in Florida State Prison in 1979. However, for his last meal, he denied food. He was a heavy drinker, so all he wanted was one flask full of Jack Daniel's whiskey, which he drank and shared with the prison superintendent. Timothy McVeigh was the American terrorist behind the Oklahoma City bombings, which killed 168 people. He was sentenced to death, and for his last meal, he requested 2 pints of mint chocolate chip ice cream. Peter J. Minial confessed to his crimes of murder and robbery, and he said he was ready to pay the price. He was sentenced to death, and his last meal request was insane. He got 20 beef tacos, 20 beef enchiladas, 2 double cheeseburgers, a pizza with jalapenos, fried chicken, spaghetti with salt, half a chocolate cake, half a vanilla cake, cookies and cream ice cream, caramel pecan fudge ice cream, and a small fruit cake. And lastly, James Edward Smith. And when it came down to his final meal request, all he wanted was a lump of soil. The worst college roommates ever. This girl was randomly assigned a roommate her freshman year of college, and she did the following things over the course of the semester. One day, she caught her roommate laying naked on her bed, shaving her body, and when she asked her why she was doing that, her roommate responded by saying, "Your side of the room has a window, and I need the light to see what I'm doing." What? Her roommate would also steal her jewelry and wear it all the time. And when she noticed her roommate wearing the jewelry, her roommate would say, "You can't prove this is yours. Show me a receipt and I'll give it back to you." That's just shady. One day, this roommate also put a line of duct tape down the middle of the room. She said, "You can't pass this line unless you're entering or leaving the dorm." Well, one day as this girl was leaving class, she noticed a pile of her clothes and stuff sitting in the middle of the quad. She freaked out, grabbed what she could, and went back to her dorm. She asked her roommate, "Did you do this?" She said, "Yes, because I found one of your socks on my side of the room. To teach you a lesson, I put all of your stuff in the quad, so it could easily be stolen." That's crazy. This man tried to get revenge on somebody that killed him in a video game. Julien Barreau was a 20-year-old Counter-Strike player living in France. One day in the game, someone stabbed him and killed his character. Well, that did not make him happy at all. He spent months hunting down the opponent that killed him, and he eventually found him. He entered his house and stabbed him multiple times. Luckily, the victim survived. The knife missed his heart by centimeters. The judge called Barreau a menace to society and sentenced him to 2 years in prison and anger management lessons. I feel like they went too easy on him. What do you think? Black markets kids ran in their schools. The Mountain Dew dealer. This is a submission from one of my followers. A couple of years ago, he brought to school a couple cans of the Mountain Dew SA. They were limited edition for the 4th of July, and he sold a couple cans. He then brought the rest of the 12-pack to school the next day, and he sold out instantly. He bought these 12 packs for $5 at the store, and he sold them for $2 a can. Some kids complained that it was a racket, and he was charging way too much money for the cans. But people still bought from him. And what helped him the most is that the stores in town were always sold out of the Dew SA. So if any students at his school wanted one, they would have to buy it from him. Business was absolutely booming. In total, he made about $600, but for a 16-year-old, that's not too bad. He was never caught. Mountain Dew just stopped selling that type of soda. Black markets kids ran in their schools. A follower submission. This follower told me a story about a kid at his high school. So this kid was a senior, and he started running this business. People would come to him if they wanted to change their grade, from a C to a B or from a B to an A. It only had to be one letter grade up. For example, if somebody had a D, he would not change their grade to an A. It's too suspicious. Well, he charged $10 for every grade changed. And every Friday, once he got all the orders in for the week, he would take his laptop to the bathroom, hack into the teacher's grading system, and change the grades. Eventually, he got caught and was suspended. But in total, he made about $1,000. This kid's running a super smart business at his school. My followers sent me the story of a business he is currently running. Every day, his school puts out these jugs of hot water so students can cook ramen and other stuff like that. Well, him and his friend one day had a very good idea. They were going to use that water to cook and sell hot dogs. They run this business 3 days a week, and each of those days they bring in 20 hot dogs and get a bunch of hot water from the cafeteria. They then cook the hot dogs, put them in buns, and sell them to students for $3 a piece. And every day they are selling out. Business is currently booming. They also have another friend that has a popcorn maker at home. This kid started bringing in bags of popcorn with cups to put them in, and that always sells out as well. They have not been caught yet, and they plan to keep going. And as of right now, they're making about $360 a week. That's very impressive. This man never took his kids to a baseball game, and the reason why is actually very sad. This is Frank Goldsmith. He was a young passenger on the Titanic, and he survived the sinking. Well, years later, he ended up living right next to a baseball stadium in Detroit, Michigan. He said he hated game days. Why? Because he said every time the crowd cheered, the sound reminded him of the screams that came from the dying passengers as the Titanic sank. As a result of this trauma and the noise from the crowds, he never took his kids to a baseball game. The weirdest interactions of all time. When this kid was 8 years old, his mom took him to her friend's house because she had a son who was 8 years old as well. His mom wanted them to hang out while her and her friend had a chat. Well, things were going fine for a few minutes until the kid said, "Hey, check this out." The kid then pulled his pants down and took a poop on the floor. But that wasn't all. The dog came up to the poop, sniffed it, ate it, and then threw the poop up back on the carpet. He said this moment has stuck with him for years, and he will never forget it. My favorite comebacks. Let's just dive right in. Watch this, watch this. Hey, yo, Kyle. Oh, hey, Chad. Nice Hawaiian shirt, man. Good luck getting any girls wearing that. Oh, really? Well, you're so ugly that your pictures hang themselves. Good one, loser. I can get any girl I want. Yeah, right. The only chance you have at getting laid is to crawl inside a chicken's ass and wait. You take that back right now, Kyle. You take that back right now. Black Black markets, kids ran in their schools. This kid went to a pretty small school, so everyone knew each other. Well, between 3rd and 4th period, in the boys' locker room in the gym, people held a fight club. You had to know somebody to be able to get in. They even had weight classes. The most popular and entertaining match they had was 2 130-pound skinny kids fighting one 300-pound held-back 20-year-old. The fights got pretty intense, but everyone knew when to hold back, because nobody wanted to come to class with ripped clothes or a bloody face. There was even a referee for these events. The people who organized this fight club were making bank. But there was also another service. This one kid had a very nice camera, and he would record these matches in super high quality. He would then take these fight recordings and put them on the internet, and the only way people could watch them is if they had a password. So now these guys are running an actual fight club and basically a streaming service to watch the fights if you couldn't be there. Crazy days for sure at this high school, and nobody will ever forget it. Funny things parents did. This mom was trying to text her family's group chat, but when her phone keyboard didn't work, she wrote on a whiteboard, took a picture of it, and sent this to the chat. Smart. This guy was hosting his brother's 40th birthday party, but when there weren't any 4 or 0 balloons at the store, he bought an 8 and wrote +32 on it. Nice. Whenever this person's mom puts a book she's reading away, she doesn't use a bookmark. She puts it back on the shelf like this, so she doesn't lose her page. Honestly, just get a frickin' bookmark. Real quick, this app lets you erase anything from a picture. If you want it, get it right here. And last but not least, this person's dad was using a pencil that didn't have an eraser. So what did he do? This. Smart. Weird things you need to see. This picture was taken at a DMV. Look at that lady. She's wearing a pasta strainer on her head. Why? I came across this strange video of ants circling a rock. It looks like they're summoning some kind of demon. They're definitely up to something. The way the sun was shining on this motorcycle left a very interesting shadow. Or should I say foreshadow. The shadow looked like a person sitting in a wheelchair. That's kind of creepy. A girl and her friend were walking through an abandoned house, and in the basement, they saw these things. Some real serial killer vibes. I don't know what the fuck this is. A bunch of people pretending to be farm sheep? I wish this video had sound, because look at this lady right here. She definitely lets out a really nice bah. And lastly, this is a picture of a house party in the early 2000s. Is that Marky Zuck doing a little dance? Look at him go. Funny ways kids got payback. One day in elementary school, this kid's planner was taken by one of his classmates, and that classmate wrote, "You suck," all over his planner. Well, he didn't like that. You're gonna pay for this. A couple days later in that same class, this kid noticed that the kid who wrote "You suck" on all of his stuff left his planner out on his desk. So he took the planner, and in the calendar portion of the planner, on a bunch of random days, he wrote, "You might die today." When the other kid saw this, he was a huge baby, and he started crying. Did you do this, Kyle? Am I gonna die today? Miss? He snitched, and he got our dude suspended for 3 days. The dumbest rules parents made their kids follow. When this person was growing up, his parents wouldn't allow him to use public restrooms at all. Even on trips to Disney World. If he had to go to the bathroom, they had to go all the way back to the hotel, which is bogus. When he was in elementary and middle school, at the start of every year, his parents would call the teachers and told them to let them know if their son ever used the public bathroom. If he was caught using the public bathroom at school, his parents would punish him when he got home. Growing up, there was no place he could safely use the bathroom other than his home without getting in trouble. When he got to high school, the parents tried the same thing. They called the teachers and said, "Let us know if he ever uses the public restroom." The teachers in high school thought that was weird, and they never followed through. So he got away with using the bathrooms in high school. But it wasn't until college, where this kid was finally allowed to use any public bathroom he wanted without fear of being punished by his crazy parents. Black markets kids ran in their schools, a follower submission. When this kid was in middle school, he was pretty popular, and he was a funny kid in his class. Everybody liked him, and everyone respected him. He never had any beef with anybody. And because of this, people were constantly telling him their secrets, or who they had a crush on. That's when he had an idea. After he felt like he gathered enough information from people, he ran a business. He sold people's secrets and their crushes to anybody who would pay, and business was booming. He charged a couple dollars to share someone's secret. He charged $5 to tell someone who that person had a crush on. He was making decent money. The people who bought the secrets from him never snitched on where they got that information from, but the teachers and students knew somebody was leaking this juicy info to people. He eventually stopped because it was getting too risky, and in the end, he made $900. The dumbest reasons people got in trouble at work. This guy was chilling at home when he got a call from a manager of a company. Hello? Oh, hello, Greg. He answers. Well, Greg, you didn't show up for work today, and honestly, I have had enough of your bull crap. You are a disgrace to the Comcast company. You're ignorant, you're selfish, you're incredibly selfish, you waste all of our time. Your mother would be so disappointed in you, Greg. You can be quiet. What do you have to say for yourself? The call went on for a while, but the thing was, my name isn't Greg, and I definitely don't work at Comcast. I actually just started at Dairy Queen last week, so, but good luck to Greg, huh? Sounds like he's in big trouble. Okay, bye. God darn it. Can somebody get me Greg's phone number? I don't think I have it, but why don't you just ask him what his number is? He's sitting at his desk. Wait, he's here today? Yeah, it's his birthday today. He brought everyone donuts. I had like 3. Shit. Black markets kids ran in their schools, a follower submission. When this kid was in middle school, he wanted to make some money, so he started a business. He bought a bunch of Smarties and he sold them for 25 cents each. But he soon realized he wasn't making the profit he wanted, so he had another idea. This guy was very good at math. So what he did was he went to the school council.
second year পড়ি
সেকেন্ড ইয়ারে এখন ক্লাস 9 এর পোলাবেন প্রেম করে
মামা মায়া তো অস্থির এক্সকিউজ মি আপু এক্সকিউজ মি আপনার নামটা যদি বলতেন একটু
শুনেন বেঞ্চ সাহেব আমার বন্ধু জিসান ঠিক আছে আপনার বান্ধবীরে শুনুন মারি নাই তো শাসন করছি ভালো লাগে না একটু মারতেই পারি তাহলে কিন্তু খুব খারাপ হয়ে গেছে তুই রবিল নামে সুন্দর রিক্সা ডাক ভাবি ঠিক আমার বন্ধু জিসান দেখতে প্লিজ ভাবি আপনি একটু নেন প্লিজ ভাবি দেখেন ভাবি বন্ধু ধরে না আবার কল দে এই এই দুলাভাই সামনে থাকলে যে সালাম দিতে হয় আপনি শিখাই নাই তোরা
যে কোচিং এর সামনে যে গুন্ডাটা দাঁড়িয়ে থাকে আমার তো মনে হয় পড়াশোনা সব বন্ধ করে দিবে
আমি তোর প্রেমের গল্প সাকসেসফুল আমার কথা বিশ্বাস কর
আর আমি যদি একটু প্রেম ভালোবাসা চাই আমি শুধু ওরেই চাই বাবা আমি ওরে পাইলে হবে
ওকে আমি আপনাকে ভালোবাসি আচ্ছা আপনার কাছে একটা প্রশ্ন
যাই শোনো আমি একটা জিনিস ভাবতেছিলাম
কি বলো তো
সেটা হচ্ছে যে আই থিংক উই ক্যান বি আ ভেরি গুড পে জীবনে তো কোনো হাফ ডান প্র্যাঙ্কের ইতিহাস নেই আজকে এটারে ফুল ডান করে ছাড়বো ভাই
ওকে আই শুড গো নাও আই শুড গো নাও
না না হি জাস্ট গো নাও ঠিক আছে
এপ্রিল ফুল আজকে 1 এপ্রিল তুমি সবাইকে বোকা বানাও আমরা আজকে তোমাকে বোকা বানিয়েছি
নেন মানব কল্যাণে ম্যাক্স আগে আসবে এটাই তো স্বাভাবিক
হ্যালো আরে ঠিকানা তো খুঁজে পাচ্ছি না আপনি কোন ঠিকানা দিবেন
খারাপ হবে না তাছাড়া তুমি তো দেখতে শুনতে ভালোই সুন্দরী একটা সুন্দরী মেয়ে যদি টিমের সাথে থাকে খারাপ কি আইড লাভ টু নো ওয়ারিজ
শেষ
মাই ফোন আমার কষ্ট করে কেনা ফোন
শাট আপ একটা কথা আর বলবি না
কি সমস্যা তোমাদের
তুমি নাকি আমার ফোন ভেঙে ফেলছো
ফোনটা তো আনাই হইছে খুঁজে না এখন
দেখেন আপনারা যে আমাকে থানা নিচ্ছেন আপনাদের থানাও কিন্তু আমার ফ্যান ফলোয়াররা ঘেরাও করে ফেলবে হোসেন ভাই ম্যান আপনারা একটু পর আমার সাথে সেলফি তুলতে চান তখন আমি তুলবো না
থানা নিয়ে যান
ভাই
শোন ওই যে ও দেখ শুয়ে আছে ও আজকে বেটার 3 নাম্বার গাছটা তার পেছনে গিয়ে তুই কিন্তু দাঁড়াবি ঠিক আছে আজকে বেটার খবর আছে
আরো নেক্সট লেভেল হাউ
আমার মাথায় একটা আইডিয়া এসেছে ওই কন্টেন্ট যদি তুমি বানাতে পারো একদম হিট ভাইরাল হয়ে যাবে একদম
তুই এটা করতে পারলি
কেন মা ও কি কম ফুটফুটে পুরো ব্ল্যাক ডায়মন্ড দেখো মা
আমার না মাথা ঘুরতেছে যে কি করে আপনার মাথায় কোনো কমন সেন্স নেই? আমার বাসায় যদি সবাই দেখে ফেলে।
আজকে রাত 10টায় আমি ফোন দিব, আর একবারের বেশি যদি রিং হয়।
মামা মালটা তো জোস। সরি 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 ভাবি,
তুই যা, তুই পারবি, তুই যা।
দেখ কিভাবে কই।
সেটিং মেটিং নাই তো? সেটিং মানে বুঝো না, পেন্টিরিতি। ও তো আমাদের ভাবি হয়, ওই হিসাবে আমাদের বিয়ে হিসাব আপনি।
আচ্ছা দাঁড়া, ওয়েট কর, আমাকে একটু ভাবতে দে, দেখি কি করা যায়। দোস্ত তুই থাক, আমি যাই।
আমি থাকবো মানে?
তুই থাক, তুই থাক দোস্ত।
রক্ত লাগবে রে।
রক্ত?
আসবো না মানে?
হ্যাঁ তাই তো শুনলাম।
আসবো না, ঠিক আছে, দেখতেছি ব্যাপারটা। যাও।
কিরে তুই কোচিং এ যাস না কেন?
দোস্ত আমি কোচিং এ কিভাবে যাব বল? এই গুন্ডাটা যে আমাকে ডিস্টার্ব করে, তুই দেখতেই তো পারছস, ডেইলি আমার পিছনে লাগে থাকে।
আমার ভালোবাসার গল্পটা অপূর্ণ রয়ে গেল।
গলবে, পাখির মন গলবে, এমন মন্ত্র দেব।
এভাবে রাস্তাঘাটে একটা মেয়েকে উত্তক্ত করে আর নিজের গায়ে রক্ত দিয়ে